Beatdown. Welcome everybody. I'm your host Class. This is my co-host
Mr. J.
Yeah, and we're here to bring you another Beatdown episode. If you guys aren't familiar with the Beatdown episode, it's really quite simple. We like to put superheroes against each other, toe to toe, mano y mano. And my boy, we decided to change it up a little bit with the rules. And here are the rules.
The rules today for this one are pretty simple. This is a straight MMA fight, UFC, Strikeforce type thing, which means no superpowers, no weapons, no super soldier serum.
Yeah, that's right. That means no powers whatsoever, no abilities, just two ordinary guys going toe to toe with just the experience and the skill sets they have from their time.
Hands.
Yeah. So, we want to make a quick shout out because we're going to use some artwork here that is really bomb, and we decided we wanted to, give you guys a quick shout out on the guy who did the artwork.
Lorenzo Lopez.
There you go. And if even if we butcher the name, we're gonna give you his photo and where to find him on Instagram right here. So that's a great thing about editing. Anyways, so let's get to it. So before we get into it, we're gonna flip a coin to decide who is going to make their argument first. I like tails, so let's see where it goes, and we're gonna let it land on the floor. Tails. So I guess I get to make my argument first. All right. So this is a pretty much brawl one-on-one, mano y mano. And Captain America, if you ain't know about Captain America, he's a man that has lived quite a long time. How long would you say? Long enough to gain so much experience. Enough to gain jiu-jitsu experience, martial arts experience, and enough to find pressure points in certain individuals. The man has got his expertise right on the money. Now, granted, Frank Castle, he's a badass. There's no denying it. Frank Castle's badass. I mean, the guy can take a beating. But so can Steve Rogers. If you remember correctly, Steve Rogers, before he had superpowers, was the kind of guy who never quit. He was from Brooklyn. Tough as nails, fight from the beginning.
Doesn't mean he didn't get knocked out.
Hey. But yeah, he did get knocked out. But given the ability now that he has a little more muscle on him, and he's not a scrawny, short kid who is from Brooklyn now, he's actually a big, bulky dude. There's a better way of saying that his strengths, his ability, or what he used to be, can now actually take on anybody as an ordinary person. Now, I'm not saying he's going to use his super strength. I'm talking about the ability, that sure will that he has. Frank has the same thing. Let's not get it twisted. Frank does have the same thing. But Captain America has been in several different types of war combat. Frank has been in a lot, but Captain has been in more. He has more experience. He's led more people. That means he's had to be in constant more pressure than Frank Castle has. Now, Frank Castle might be a lone wolf bad boy, but he's not the leader guy. He's not the guy that says, hey, I'm going to bring the group together. I'm going to show you guys the strategy. No, he's the guy who says, I'm going to figure it out all by myself. Now, with leadership comes more, I believe, the ability to assess more things a lot more better. That's my argument on this case. So if we were to go and say Frank and Steve were going at it one-on-one fighting, let's say the endurance was the whole issue. They would probably go a couple rounds with each other. They would probably never quit fighting each other because Cap's is kind of that sure will mentality. So is Frank. But at the end of the day, you can't deny that with Cap's extra experience in pressure points, extra experience in jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, that even if you are a Special Marines guy from the Army, it's kind of hard to compare when you have a little bit more knowledge from outside of just basic Americanized fighting tactics. I'm just saying that internationally, there's other people who have done it better than us. Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, there's Muay Thai. I mean, there's like a bunch of fighting skills Judo. We have like a bunch of fighting skills that are just unbelievably, just nothing in comparison. So I think that Steve would just at first take a great one-on-one fight, but once he would take the pressure points right on Frank, take him down, and start just wailing on him until Frank was no more. Boom. Anyways, your turn.
Well, I have to say I respectfully disagree. Yes, Cap is a very extremely skilled fighter, adept in just about every hand-to-hand combat known to man. but he's not unbeatable. He's been killed a couple times in the comics by Frank Castle, by the way. One of 3 people to do so, kill the entire MCU, entire Marvel universe. Just saying. But Frank is an exceptional Marine, extremely trained in the McMap system, which is the Marine Martial Arts Combat System. Sorry if I didn't get the name right. Frank is highly trained in a lot of CQC systems, which is close quarters combat. He's highly adept and skilled in boxing, judo, jiu-jitsu, Krav Maga, karate, which is a lot of what he needs to push the fight against the cage up close where he can do damage and punishment and, you know, not give Steve enough room to breathe. Use some of his experience to take Steve down, maybe give some punishment of his own, maybe some dirty boxing, Muay Thai, where he can, you know, just try to push Steve against the cage and just, you know, deal out some punishment of his own. Obviously, there would have to be a little bit more to that. You know, he could possibly take Steve down and possibly even submit him or knock him out. You know, Steve has shown that if you push the fight against him, you know, he can break and he can be hit.
Okay. All right. So there's a pretty 2 strong valid points we're making here on our argument. His argument is being that up close, Steve would have a disadvantage and would probably lose on that end. And my argument is that Frank would lose because of Steve's ability to use his pressure points in a fight, which would give Frank a disadvantage because he'd probably be a little paralyzed from the whatever pressure points he hits him with. So we're trying to try this channel, this new segment out. This is new to us because we're trying to figure out how we're going to go and approach this, because we both have 2 different arguments on this case. So obviously we're not going to be able to give you guys the actual, like, who's going to win this fight. All we can really tell you is that what we have for personal opinions, and then we have to leave it up to you guys, the audience, to decide. If you guys want to leave a comment section down below, leaving which one you think would actually win a fight. So
give us your opinions, how you think it would pan out,
yeah,
who you think wins.
So let's make a closing statement, so that way we have it kind of like in a solid essence, you know, kind of like what it is going in a jury or something like that at the end. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about Steve. So that way, and then I'm going to let my boy go next. Steve Rogers is one of the best American soldiers. That's why he had an entire army to lead him, to be led by him. The fact that he is pretty much the leader of the Avengers. He is well knowledge, well skill set. The guy has a cannot give up mentality or spirit. He is strong as they come, takes one hell of a fight, takes one hell of a beating, and is determined to beat whoever is in his way. So that being said, I think hands down Steve Rogers would knock Frank Castle the Punisher down.
Taking away Steve's super soldier serum, that takes away a lot of his intelligence, a lot of his speed, strength, durability. Frank is badass without all that, just by his military training and his sheer will alone. He is not one to be played with. Bringing this into they don't have superpowers and it's a straight one-on-one fight, I think Frank slightly has an advantage just by his tactfulness. Frank is very much a very good tactician, and he's very good at, you know, people think he just goes in guns blazing. That's not the way it is. He is very capable of setting up a plan and setting up his course of attack, which I believe if he had the time to plan out a strategy, I think he could beat Steve.
I mean, no.
Especially without the serum. Making them both human, I just think levels the playing field enough for Frank to take the fight. Frank could easily, I think at that point, take Cap down and just wail down some blows and possibly get a TKO or submission.
Okay. So that was our final argument, our closing statement. So which one do you guys think would win? We're going to leave you guys the choice to make that decision, and we're going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Also, another shout out again to the man who created this beautiful artwork over here. I'm going to put it right here, a little picture of him again. So you guys don't forget, we really like to appreciate and show gratitude to the people that give us a chance to use their artwork. Anyways,
Thanks, buddy.
catch you guys later. Peace.